told him I wanted space, but he took it too literally and erased me. My name is Lucy, and I've always believed that relationships are built on understanding, love, and communication. Or at least that's what I told myself when things started to feel like they were getting too complicated. Chris and I had been together for almost 3 years, and everything was, in many ways, perfect. He was a great guy, caring, reliable, funny. He was my person, and I was his. We lived together in a small apartment in the city, shared quiet mornings and peaceful evenings, the kind of relationship that seemed to check all the boxes, and yet I started to feel overwhelmed by the idea of being tied down. I loved him, but I missed the feeling of independence, the sense of freedom I had before we became so entangled in each other's lives. I thought that asking for a little space would fix everything. I convinced myself it was just a minor thing. I just needed time to think, to breathe, to reconnect with who I was before becoming so consumed by our routine. It seemed harmless, right? A simple request. But I didn't realize how badly it would unravel everything. It was a Friday night when I first said it to him. We were sitting in our living room, both exhausted after a long work week, and the conversation had taken a turn. I was feeling trapped, suffocated, and it all came spilling out. "Chris, I think I need some space," I said softly, barely making eye contact. He looked at me, a little taken aback. I quickly tried to explain myself. "It's not about you, it's just, I need some time to think, time to myself. I think I'm losing myself a little bit, and I just need some room to breathe." At first, he seemed fine with it. He didn't argue or ask me to explain myself further. He just nodded and said, "Okay, I get it." I assumed that would be the end of it. I didn't realize how much those words would shake everything. At first, I thought it was going well. I'd go out with friends, enjoy some alone time, and Chris seemed to be respecting the space I asked for. But over the next few days, things changed in ways I didn't anticipate. Instead of growing closer, we grew more distant. His texts became short and distant. He started spending more time at work or out with his friends, and when we did talk, it felt like we were strangers. I didn't understand it at first. I had asked for space, but wasn't he supposed to just give me that room to breathe and then return to normal? It felt like he was shutting me out completely. I started to feel like the space I requested wasn't just physical, it was emotional too, and I didn't know how to fix it. It wasn't until a few weeks later, when I decided to visit him at his apartment, that I fully understood what had happened. I knocked on the door, expecting to walk in and see him sitting on the couch, maybe scrolling through his phone or watching TV like we used to do together. But when he opened the door, something was different. The apartment was quieter. He wasn't standing there with a smile. There was no warmth in his eyes like before. He looked almost detached. "I think we need to talk," he said, stepping aside to let me in. We sat down, and that's when the truth hit me. He wasn't just giving me space. He had taken my words and turned them into a decision to shut me out completely. To him, space wasn't just about giving me time. It was about disappearing. "I can't keep doing this, Lucy," he said softly, looking at me with a sadness that broke my heart. "You wanted space, but I've realized maybe you want something more. Maybe you just want out." I sat there stunned. It was like the floor had dropped out from under me. I had asked for space to clear my head, but in doing so, I had made him feel like I didn't need him anymore. And now, here we were, both emotionally miles apart, and I hadn't even seen it coming. "I didn't mean that," I said quickly, trying to explain. "I didn't want you to go. I just needed some time." But he had already made his decision. He packed a bag, and without another word, he walked out the door. Over the next few days, I tried calling him, texting him, anything to reach out. But every message, every call went unanswered. He had erased me completely. It wasn't just that we were on a break. He had checked out, emotionally and physically, and I had no idea how to fix it. His family began to distance themselves too. They didn't return my calls, and when I reached out to his sister, she told me that he was at his parents' place, processing everything. She didn't say it, but I could feel the underlying message. He didn't want to talk to me. I had pushed him too far away with my need for space, and now he was gone. I spent days reflecting on what had happened, wondering if I could have handled things differently. Maybe I could have explained myself better, or maybe I should have known that what I thought was a harmless request for space could be misinterpreted as something much bigger. The truth was, I had underestimated the power of my own words. I realized that space, while necessary at times, wasn't something you could ask for without considering how the other person might feel. I had asked for room to breathe, but what I got was distance. And that distance? It was impossible to close once it had been created. Have you ever asked for space, only to have it tear your relationship apart? I want to hear your stories. Let me know in the comments, did you ever unintentionally push someone away by needing space? Maybe we can all learn from each other's mistakes. Chris and I never got back together. He moved on, and I learned the hard way that sometimes space isn't just about physical distance. It's about emotional distance, too. If you're going to ask for space, you need to understand what it might really mean for the other person. Because once you've created that gap, closing it again may be impossible. And sometimes that's a loss you can't undo.